Hey, it's Sick Boy from the Gaming Anarchist Collective, and I want to ask the internet at large a serious, genuine question. What is harassment and what is abuse? I don't mean the dictionary definition, I'm not trying to be snarky here, but with regards to the current situation in gaming, with people going backwards and forwards with Gamergate, anti-Gamergate, Gamergate, gamers against Gamergate, Gamergate against gamers against Gamergate, ban Assassin's Creed, shouty, 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 look at these people are Nazis and these people are fucking hipster monsters. Pulling all of that back for a minute, I want to ask this question. And I want to ask it specifically to people who argue against Gamergate rather than those within Gamergate, because I think it's pretty clear within the people that I speak to, people that I interact with, that they really seem to understand a definition that is much more akin to what I understand a definition as. I have had discussions with some real douchebags in the last couple of months. Really, the likes of Ian Miles Chung has been a dick. The types of like Devin Faraci has been a dick. And then passive-aggressive wankers who refuse to actually engage you directly have also been dicks. Now, I actually did have a backwards-forwards conversation with Ian Miles Chung a few days ago, and I said to him, he said something about Gamergate comes after your family, comes after you and your family, and I asked him, right, okay, well, if you can substantiate that for me, I would genuinely come out and all-out attack Gamergate as a hateful movement. Because I haven't seen that from them. For the most part, I've seen trolls being trolls, and I've seen most people who are Gamergate being very earnest, very serious, and going into what they really are interested in, and that is essentially financially damaging the journals, the websites that have offended them and treated gamers like shit in their eyes. That's what they're doing. That's most of what I see people doing. And yes, I see a lot of snark about the likes of Jonathan McIntosh and Anit Sarkeesian when they come out and say stuff, ridiculous shit like Assassin's Creed focuses too much on murder. I know. Fucking, this is where the phrase full McIntosh has come from. Just ridiculous statements. Some of which are taken out of context, some of which are downright fucking stupid. Now, I raised that question, said about that, and he replied back with, check my retweets and denounce Gamergate. So I went through, and I saw that somebody said I was talking shit about Gamergate on a radio station or something, or a podcast, and not only me, but my wife got some abusive tweets. So that's what he constitutes, coming for you and your family. I say something publicly, you say something public back, and you may throw something to someone you're infected with. Now, you're associated with. Now, I asked that, and the conversation rolled on for a couple of minutes, and then other people joined the conversation. All of a sudden, he started shouting and screaming about he would not be pulled into a dog pile and be harassed. He didn't specifically use the word harassed, I don't believe. I was talking about that, and I said, hang on, can we define terms here? What is this being descended upon? I looked at my mentions. Now, if I make a mention on Gamergate, I tend to get a good number of responses and retweets. I don't have my retweets or favourites anymore. Ever since Gamergate came in, and if I chime in on something, my notifications kind of get out of control, so I tend not to have those things flash up. But, like, replies, I get a ton of replies when I say something with regards to Gamergate. And I saw what I believed were the replies aimed at him. And there were about 5. And they were mostly snarky, scathing. A few people bringing up the fact that he's a reformed neo-Nazi. A few people just telling him to fuck off. Now, there's a lot of talk about harassment and bullying online. And there is harassment and bullying online. People who send anonymous death threats. I've seen people who've had knives sent to their home with please kill yourself. That was Gamergate people instead who received that, by the way. And I've seen, of course, Anit Sarkeesian got those tweets. Brianna Wu got those tweets. And we don't know where those tweets come from, who sent them, and whoever sent them. I would just say, to save any argument, I believe whoever writes any threat that is aimed at anybody, that person is a sick fucking individual. Now, you can use that to cover whatever spectrum of whatever your belief structure in fact is. Those who write threats are douchebags. Universally, that's my position. You threaten somebody, you're a fucking coward. Now, you fake threats, if you think threats are faked, that again makes the person who wrote them the scumbag, okay? So let's not get bogged down to this argument because there's too many different situations to get nailed down into one specific and have comments going on and on and on about one specific incident of claimed harassment. I would genuinely ask the question, what constitutes harassment? Because if the likes of, say, Ian Miles Chong are to be believed, he says, oh my god, look at my mentions, I'm being descended upon, after about 4 or 5 tweets. And I kind of think, but if I make a comment on a topic like this, I'll get 20, I'll get 10, 20, 30 tweets in a couple of minutes. So what the fuck is he talking about? This guy has a much larger following than me. So if he says something, I would assume he would expect replies. Specifically, if you use something in a tag or to somebody who's popular, then, especially if you're a public figure, you should be expecting replies. So where does this line get drawn? What is harassment and what is criticism? What is shit-talking? What is throwing abuse? But where does this line get drawn? Because right now, it seems to be that if a public figure says something and you reply to them, that they can claim it's harassment. Now, I want to see harassment and bullying swept off all walks of life. In reality, on the internet, in all situations. I dislike bullies, I dislike cowards, I dislike these fucking horrible individuals. But you can't do that without defining your terms. And if me hearing something that Jonathan Mixos has to say gets retweeted, and I might say, good, you're a fucking moron, or even just about him, not even mentioning his name, just going, Jesus Christ, I've read something fucking stupid. How do these things count as harassment? What constitutes harassment? Do the police saying this is not a credible threat, does that count as receiving credible death threats? We do need genuinely to define these terms. We are getting bogged down in too much he said, she said, shit flinging, and you know what? Neither one side is 100% right, neither one side is 100% wrong, on the grounds that there are individuals who are either claiming to share the opinion of, or genuinely do share the opinion of, who act like dicks. So you cannot win or lose this argument on the grounds that arseholes exist in the other camp, because arseholes exist everywhere. That can't work. You want to have a discussion about gaming ethics, have a discussion about gaming ethics. People refuse to engage you on ethical issues and want to talk about harassment. Don't engage them. You want to talk about ethics, talk about fucking ethics. We should be talking about harassment, but it's a different conversation. And we definitely need to define what harassment actually is. Because I'm seeing some ludicrous examples of harassment. Absolutely fucking ludicrous. If these things are to be believed, then I have been harassed and abused. Now, do I have just ridiculously thick skin? Or do I live in the real world and I not actually consider these things real? And I get that people have bad days, people feel piled upon and people have emotions. I understand all those things, but they don't change the fact that they're having a bad day and they feel like they're getting dogpiled. Is that or is that not harassment? Where do we draw that line? I'd really like to see the comments on this and a genuine, honest discussion. This is not about whose side is right and whose side is wrong. I've made it very clear what my position is on the matter, particularly on Twitter and in my previous video. I have a real problem with nepotism and ethical issues in games journalism. I also have issues with reviews, which I'm going to do in another video, because that's a very different topic and it's not really to do with Gamergate, other than it's partially to do with Gamergate. I would like people to discuss in this video, come here and honestly, genuinely, without wanting to start an argument about who's right and who's wrong, what is harassment? Let's have a discussion about it, let's be mature about it, let's decide what our terms are. And also let's decide what constitutes culpability for harassment. Is the account that sent the harassment, is the writer of that harassment guilty, or is everybody guilty by association because they share an opinion? Is Joss Whedon referring to people who support Gamergate as the KKK, as similar to the KKK, does that mean every single person that says, actually, I don't really agree with I don't think the ethical concerns are that valid, and frankly, I disagree with the dogpiling of people? Those people have their right to have that opinion. Do they all mean that they're all absolute fucking bigots, that they come out and start referring to gamers as terrorists and Nazis? Because the people I lay that at the feet of people who actually have said it. So I've been marking those people who openly say stuff like gamers are scum, gamers are terrorists, if they say, God, the way some of these gamers are acting, I really don't like it. I don't like these people are assholes. If they're going to criticise the people who are acting like assholes, I've got no problem with that. If you want to try and smear and tarnish an entire group of people, or just to try and strawman an entire argument on the grounds that there are trolls on the internet, you need to fucking stop. So, let's go back to the very basics here. What is harassment? What is abuse? I look forward to your comments. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you guys later.